flying in. Chisai no toki, tonari no hito no ie kara, omocha wa tsumeteta. Sore wa mondai de wa nai dato omotta kedo, konogoro, my things have been going missing. A man racks his brain in Shinjuku. Could I have some of those sweet potatoes? I'll take 4. Actually, please make it 5. Everyone at home has a big appetite, and my wife won't be satisfied with just 1. In this world, there are creatures that we cannot see. A modified race of humans known as skeletons that possess the ability to become invisible to the normal eye, along with other abilities unique to each skeleton. Remember that guy from before? He had kids.
Want a break from the ads?
Yodomi Arakawa is a quiet kid. The type to clear what he was typing on the group chat and let the conversation keep going without him. Arakawa, where do you want to go for summer break? As long as you two are there, I don't care where we go. Since his mom works all day, he's the one in charge of cooking and getting groceries at home. On one particular day, he sees a package at their doorstep. He checks the order and it's addressed to his father. He takes it in for a closer look. He opens it up and... Wake up! Wake up! What? Calm down and look at your right hand. Whoa! What a lukewarm reaction. In here. Howdy. This is Yamamoto, a mysterious talking skull that has just turned Arakawa into a skeleton. Out of curiosity? Okay. However, Arakawa can't think of any way to use his power and decides to come back and return it. I don't want to upset anyone. Doing what I'm supposed to is enough for me. I think that's what they call happiness. He invites Arakawa to take him to an observation deck not too far from his house, and he agrees. They arrive at the place, but before they're able to take in the view, they're interrupted by another skeleton. All hell breaks loose as he makes his way for the skull, using a special move to knot both Arakawa's arms. Yamamoto tells him to turn invisible, and the transformation restores his arms, but the other skeleton is still making his move. As he looms over, he reveals to Arakawa that Yamamoto was the one that killed his father. Arakawa freezes in shock, and that's when, "You need to be more cautious, you dunce." Yamamoto is taken. The other skeleton prepares his escape, completely writing off the possibility that Arakawa would stand up to him. But Arakawa pulls up anyway, and now he's finally found a reason to use his new powers to find out more about his father's death. And right now, Yamamoto holds those answers. Skeleton Double is definitely one of my favorite mangas this year. The panels are super cinematic and easy to follow, the fight scenes are very immersive, and as a fan of horror and spooky stuff in general, I was captured by the manga's eerie atmosphere and the dread and danger surrounding the skeletons, as well as all the mysteries and unanswered questions. The art style in this manga is also very neat and reminds me of the Secret Saturdays at times. But the reason I'm talking about this manga is because of its honest and grounded portrayal of the introvert experience.
It's the way you choose to follow a longer route than the one in front of you because it's less crowded. It's the way you feel like you can't contribute to conversations that are happening just in front of you. It's the way you dance better when no one is around. It's the way in a crowd of people you wish you were invisible. Introvert. A person with the qualities of a personality type known as introversion, which means they feel more comfortable focusing on their inner thoughts and ideas rather than what's happening externally. They enjoy spending time with just 1 or 2 people rather than a large group of crowds. Alternatively, the Merriam-Webster dictionary describes an introvert as a typically reserved or quiet person who tends to be introspective and enjoys spending time alone. And that's all, folks.
Introverts are some of the loudest voices in the media that we consume today. And as a matter of fact, some of our all-time favorite characters are introverts. Harry Potter, Walter White, and even Sheldon Cooper. However, there's a common denominator amongst introverts in media, and that's a certain kind of weakness. Harry Potter was practically bullied by his entire family, and he just kept up with it, never really standing up for himself. Walter White in the earlier part of the series is usually taken advantage of by his boss, and often serves as the butt of his brother-in-law's jokes. And Sheldon Cooper's social ineptitude is usually played off as a joke for the audience to laugh at. And this has sort of become the public's opinion on introverts. Growing up as an albino, I used to get picked on a lot. And because of my introverted personality, some people saw me as an even easier target. Some people are just assholes and their behavior has nothing to do with us. But sadly, I didn't know that, and I often blame myself for the way I was treated. I usually thought to myself, maybe if I wasn't so evasive, people wouldn't see me as much of a target. Maybe if I was more outspoken, people wouldn't walk all over me so much. And when I spoke to the adults in my life about this, they told me to stand up for myself more, be more assertive. I knew that was what I wanted to do, of course, but I felt like it just wasn't natural for me. Like I didn't just have it in me to be stern and outspoken like the extroverts. But nothing was ever really holding me back. And this was why the manga really clicked for me. Because even though he couldn't decide where he wanted to hang out with his friends, or what he wanted to eat for dinner, and even though the person in front of him saw him as a nobody, he still showed up to the fight. The only person's opinion of him that actually mattered was his own. And even though people may view introverts as weak or easy targets, we don't have to be deluded like them. The only force holding you back from saying what you want to, when you need to, is yourself. So don't be so hard on yourself. Just let yourself be. Oh, sorry. Do you like being alone, or do people just stress you out? In the earlier chapters, Arakawa gets kidnapped by a group that intend to recruit him. They are a monstrous lot that plan on turning all of humanity into skeletons and ridding the world of all its law and order. And amongst them is a little girl, the granddaughter of one of the members. Arakawa becomes deeply concerned for her and eventually learns about the trouble she'd faced having a murderer for a grandfather and decides to rescue her. I remember reading this part and thinking,
what are you thinking?
She's with the enemy.
She could be luring you into
The enemy could pop out at any second. You can't trust her. I came across this video earlier, I think a few weeks ago, that spoke about this exact topic, but I'm going to super condense it here, so I really recommend you check out the full video. The link is in the description for this video. In a part of the video, she talks about how all humans desire the freedom to act upon their wishes freely, and as a result, this leads us to develop a certain fear of the autonomy of the people that we come in contact with. A fear that their exercising of freedom may potentially hinder our own free will, so we try to strip them of their autonomy. I killed him so he wouldn't kill me. Personally, I feel like I tend to build walls around myself and display myself a lot less, so that I have less of an opportunity of being judged or restricted from doing the things that I enjoy doing. And I think that's the biggest reason why I enjoy being alone, because I don't need to be on defense mode. But in the video, she raises an alternative to being afraid of another person's autonomy, and that is to instead be afraid for another person's autonomy. And I couldn't help but see that idea on full display while I was reading this manga, specifically this part of the manga. Because even though Arakawa had multiple reasons to be afraid of the girl, he chose instead to be afraid for her. And the fact that she may never get to have a decent childhood like he did. And he put his life on the line to save her, which was extremely difficult. And that made me realize that closing yourself off and shutting people out is the easy part. But constantly giving people a chance even though you keep on getting hurt, that's the hard part. And I feel that's where the real character development happens. Because if it doesn't challenge us, then how can we expect it to change us? We shouldn't have to be completely alone before we can be ourselves. Try to understand the people around you and act in your collective best interests. You may find that they are a little weird too and are just looking for a place that they belong, just like you. I think it's important to think this way because in our inactions, we tend to show less of ourselves, but through our actions, we tend to show more of ourselves and then learn more about ourselves. 10 out of 10. I recommend coming out of your shell.
Depends on the lot.
Yeah. One change.
Environment.
Yeah.
You can be from a very quiet family. Family that doesn't let you go out. You're used to being by yourself. Some people are just socially awkward right from time. Some people are scared. And some people are experienced.
Your background.
I feel like experience plays like the most role.
Yeah. Being bullied.
Yeah, from like primary school level bullying. Like maybe you're in nursery primary and they're like everybody, they're that one weird kid that nobody wants to talk to guy. Like,
not even that, it might not even be weird. Somebody can just
wake up
when
and
the popular person decides you're the weird one.
You're
the case closed. Yeah.
Hey, Mother Nature is giving me some free lo-fi ambient rain background sound. That's great. Negative emotions tend to be very strong, don't they? I mean, loving someone is great, but have you ever really hated someone? Oh shit. And I think that because of this, negative memories tend to be overrepresented in our minds. My time in high school was generally cool. I hosted some really fun and cool events as a social prefect, and I made some really amazing friends. But for some reason, the memories that replay the most in my mind are the terrible ones, and they can be really convincing at times. But it's important to remember that they are not the whole truth. Editing Rama here, coming in with a little bit of context that I forgot for some reason to add into the video. So the skeleton division is a group of skeletons that are controlled and funded by the Japanese government, and their whole shtick is that they keep skeleton activities under control. And when the skeleton division challenges Arakawa in an attempt to get him to quit, even though his mind is flooded with memories of all the times he was inches away from death, he still rises up to the occasion because he's not going to blindly believe the handful of bad incidents. A lot of us are not really in the habit of challenging our beliefs. I am also in this group. I heard somewhere once that if you get rejected by enough girls, then just liking someone becomes a less valid reason for asking them out. But why? Just because something has happened a few times, that doesn't make it a constant. We've only lived like 10 or 20% of our lives, give or take we make it to 100. So what makes us so certain? Why do we feel like we've seen it all? Even though Arakawa had a lot of reasons to believe that he was weak, he still chose to challenge that belief. And this was very inspiring to me, because even though he had all these negative ideas about himself, he still wasn't afraid to confront them and prove them wrong. And I think I'm going to take a few pages from his book. Let people say no first before saying it to yourself. And even though you may feel like you're setting yourself up to fail, let your optimistic voice be louder, because there's still so much to see in life than everything you have seen up until this present moment. Skeleton Double is still a very new manga, so there aren't that many chapters out now. But with the chapters available, there is so much value. I couldn't even get into the awesome characters because I didn't want this video to be too long, but Yoroi Bata is my favorite character and you just have to meet her. She's the most aloof person. The whole manga could be devolving into chaos, but she'd just be somewhere stretching or making coffee. She always makes even the tensest scenes feel safe, like that extroverted friend that you like to hide behind. But the real ace up this manga's sleeve is its message, because in 20 or so chapters, it's taught me that the public's opinion on introverts isn't generally accurate. You don't have to be completely alone before you can be yourself. No matter how many hardships life throws at us, it can't take away that dog in us. And that's why I enjoyed reading it so much. Thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Flying out.